Death and life in the power of the tongue.
Speak life.
Death and life in the power of the tongue.
Speak life.
Death and life in the power of the tongue. Live your life, love Christ, do your best to
Speak life.
Death and life in the power of the tongue.
Speak life.
Death and life in the power of the tongue.
Speak life.
Death and life in the power of the tongue. Live your life, love Christ, do your best to
Speak life.
Here we go. Hello and welcome back to another amazing episode of the Speak Life podcast. We are excited to have you with us for another wonderful week. I am your host, Minister Phoenix, alongside we have a special co-host today. As you can see, I don't have the microphone set up because he's not in the studio. So I will let him introduce himself to the people. Introduce yourself, special guest co-host.
Well, what do you want to know? I'm Kay, the other half of this little entity I call a brother over here. So, I'm a little bit different than he is. Sometimes I'm on the other side of things where he's more so on his side of things. So
I would say you're almost always on the other side of things, but
always, it's just I choose to think different. I choose not to line myself up with normal thinking, or I don't know. Sometimes I call people sheep and guppies, or lemmings. We got a lot of lemmings in the world. People who are scared of independent thought or scared to be viewed as being different because they don't think like everybody else. So I think that's one characteristic that's very unique when it comes to me, as opposed to a lot of other people. Some people might call it.
agree on that. I could agree on that. You refer to yourself as, God's gift of controversy. Some people see you as an internet troll. There's a lot of different things, that you a lot of different perspective. I'll put it like that. There's a lot of different perspective that you bring to conversations. So I think that this is definitely going to be an interesting episode. So shout out to all the listeners, all of the subscribers. You are definitely in for a treat today. If this is your first time, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, comment to be a part of the conversation. And if you haven't gotten a chance to check out the book, go do that. If you want more podcast content, go check out the Patreon. It'll be in the description at the end. So with all of the fun stuff out the way, let's get into it.
So you got to put the disclaimer. You got to put the disclaimer that your views and my views are not the same views, and my views do not represent you, and
I
your
would
views do not represent
definitely
me.
put that out there.
You better put that out there.
This is actually the first Fire and Ice episode because
we'll definitely get to it.
We're pretty opposite. We look at things definitely different. I'm usually over here, and he's usually somewhere that I'm not sure where that way he is, but he's usually somewhere that way. So my opinions are definitely going to be mine, and you'll see what I'm talking about. You'll see. You'll get a taste.
You're really about
what I mean with that guy over there.
Put your seatbelt on. It's about to be a wild and crazy ride for the next couple minutes.
Definitely strap in because you're in for a treat. I think this one's going to be one of the more interesting episodes that we have. And the topic we really want to jump into today is raising Black girls. I always say raising Black women, but we both have Black girls. I have my daughter. You have your daughter. Your daughter's older, and for me, so far, it's been a very interesting ride. There's a lot of differences between her and the boys, so to just get the conversation started, I would throw this question out there, in your opinion, in your expertise, how important do you feel it is for a young girl to have their dad in their life? Because I see a lot of times where, you have even professionals don't think like it's important for them to play that parental role where they can step in at any given time and be like, all right, well, now's the time where I want to be a part of my child's life. So in your opinion, what do you think?
I think anybody who thinks that their daughter doesn't need a father in their life is like getting in a car without a seatbelt, driving 110 miles an hour down the freeway with no brakes. You're an idiot. You're an idiot. You're an idiot.
But you see people like you see people who think like, all right, well, I don't need to be there for when they're like a baby. I can like kind of step in when they're like, give it like 2, 3 years, you
All right,
know?
I'm gonna put it to you like this: your child is like a bicycle. You have a front tire, you have a back tire. Yes, you might be special, one of them gifted kids that can wheelie a bicycle with no front tire and ride it. But eventually you got to put that front down and the bike's going to crash and burn.
Hmm.
Period. Period. Not just girls, but especially girls. If you do not have a positive male figure in their life, how do they know what to expect or what to want out of a man in their life?
Hmm. That's a good
Realistically.
one. No, that's a good one because I've always like honestly, like when me and Sheikah first had Elisha, I always thought that the role of a male was a lot more important in like a boy's life. And then actually reading up on it, it's like there's so much that actually young girls get from their dads, like their self-esteem, like how they view themselves is really wrapped up in that relationship that they have with their dad. I didn't know that for a while, and just really seeing how much really comes from that guys play, and like that guys contribute to the health and well-being of their daughters just really does amaze me, because I would see like different things on the internet where you would have people who would make jokes about young girls trying to reenact relationships with their dads, and that's why they have like bad relationships with guys and things like that. So it's like I feel like parenting, fatherhood in general is often one of the things that often gets overlooked and played down, where
I'm going to say this. I'm going to say this. It's become a norm in society where people promote this image that a father's not necessary. Like a woman can do it all. A woman can do it all. Like, okay, and a dad's not necessary. A dad's more of like a condiment, like mustard or ketchup, something that doesn't need to be on a hamburger, but is great to have. And that's a problem that we have with us in a lot of societies, and a lot of like cultures in societies in America that's being promoted now. It's like, okay, even if I'm not with you, I should still have a role in my daughter's life and in my child's life, because you're combating the world around you with with two people as opposed to one. I don't gotta like you. At some point we had a kid. Kids happen. One slips past the goalie and boom, you're there. You know what I'm saying? I know one. Wait, I'm keeping it a buck with you. Keeping it a buck with you, because everybody's not saved. Everybody's not walking with their holy shoes on.
that is very true.
Everybody ain't walking around with a Bible, can't quote scriptures, but they can quote a Jay-Z song. That's just the world we live in. Let's keep it real. That's the world we live in.
That is true.
You know, but it should be the way where you get married and you have kids, but
Sometimes that don't happen.
exactly. So with that being said, even though you might not be together with that individual, or you might not be in a situation that's conducive to happiness and well-being for both parties involved in the situation.
That is the most legal answer I have heard in a long time.
You still got to come together to raise that kid, because I'm going to tell you this: I wasn't the best. I was like Eddie Haskell growing up. You know what I mean? I could be the best person in front of you, but when it came to women, as a man, as a kid growing up the way that in the environment that I did, you could read women like that, almost like a book. You knew girls who had daddy issues. All you have to do is basically tell them, give them attention, or make them feel like they're special. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of girls, the first time they hear "I love you" from a man is some knucklehead that they're dealing with. They ain't never heard it from their father because he's not around. They ain't never heard it from their mother's boyfriend, because guess what? That's not his kid. And he's not going to say it like that. So who do you want to build up your child's self-esteem and image of themselves first? Do you want some guy who's plotting to getting up in her pants? Or do you want it to be someone that genuinely has that best interest of them? Granted, you could have uncles, you can have cousins, but if you don't have that constant stream of positive male image and a positive male emotional support for you, you're gonna be a victim.
Hmm. That just brought up two different questions that I really want to touch on. And the first one would be, with all those things in mind, like, what are some things that you absolutely try to instill in your daughter?
I'm weird.
And
I'm keeping a buck with you.
I prefer unique, an acquired taste even.
I have a different way of looking at parenting.
Okay.
So, for example, for me, I try to put my daughter in positions where she's uncomfortable.
Hmm.
What I mean by uncomfortable, I don't mean like uncomfortable, like some old predator thing like that. I'll put her in a position where if all her friends have on, let's say, a certain pair of pants or a certain outfit, I won't get her that outfit. I'll put her in an outfit that doesn't fit the norm that she has to deal with. So now she's the outsider when she goes into her social group. So now you have to deal with that feeling of being uncomfortable. And with that feeling of uncomfortable, you're going to be in that your entire life. There's going to come a time where you're with your friends or you're with your buddies and everybody's doing something else, and we've been there. And the thing I think that helped us survive a lot of situations was we were used to being uncomfortable. It didn't matter what you. I listen. I knew no matter what happened out in the streets, nothing was going to be worse than when I got home. You know what I'm saying? You ain't gonna be able to do nothing to me. You're not gonna be able to put me in a situation where I'm uncomfortable because I've lived in it. I survived in it. So I don't so it doesn't I'm not scared of it. A lot of times you don't put our kids in uncomfortable situations because we coddle them. There's ways to put them in uncomfortable situations in which you can control that environment, but still let them have that feeling so they have to deal with it.
Hmm.
You're not always going to be there to hold their hand. You're not always going to be there to be that, hey, stop. You're not always going to be that superhero. At times, they're going to have to deal with things and live off of what you put in them. And it's how do you deal with a situation if you don't know what it feels to be uncomfortable? And then when you're not, and then when you're in that uncomfortable situation, what do kids do? They're
Hmm.
going to pop pills with their best friend. They're drinking out their best friend's mother's cabinet. They ain't got the intestinal fortitude to walk away. Like, yo, be the same for me. I'm good. You know what I'm saying? So
Is a very interesting way. Like, I wouldn't, like, honestly, I wouldn't even thought about a situation like that to even think of it on that level. And that's interesting. The uncomfortability.
uncomfortability,
Well,
whatever,
yeah,
whatever you want to call it.
that word right there. Teaching your child what it means to be uncomfortable and how to deal with that situation, because like you said, there will be times where they have that situation when they're dealing with peer pressure. Their peers are all doing this. How am I gonna operate in this feeling if I've never had it? How am I gonna operate and make these choices when I'm faced with these situations when I've never had to experience it? And I think for me, like, that was very interesting. Like I said, I never even would have thought of something like that. And I think for me, my go-to is always to try to get them to avoid the things that we had to go through, and try to put them in better positions to the point, where they don't have to experience those things. And then it makes me like, and this is one of the reasons that I'm always interested in picking your mind on things, because even in not always agreeing with you, there's always some sort of thought that you're able to provoke. And with that piece, it's like, it makes me wonder, like, in those situations, like, are we doing our children justice by not exposing them to these things, these feelings that they're gonna face? Like, how are we really preparing them? And one of the things I like that you said was this at one time or another, they're gonna have to thrive off of what you give them. The things that you put inside of them, those are the things that they're gonna have to use to get through these situations. And it just makes me really think about like that piece on like, are we preparing our children to experience things and like you said that they will face for the rest of their life. It's not just going to be the teenage years or the early adult years, but there's always going to be something that's going to cause them to feel something.
If you look at it, and if you look at the kids nowadays, they don't know what a struggle is. 90% of them, because guess what? We're so built up in this concept that I've made it. Let me make sure my kids never have to go through anything. And it's like, okay, if you don't go through anything, you don't appreciate it. You don't value it. You know what I'm saying? So we coddle these kids. We coddle our kids, and we send them out in a world full of wolves. What's going to happen? They're going to get chewed up. Perfect example. Let's take it to females. Growing up, I'm gonna ask you this: who were the girls that you knew you could do whatever you want with, and basically know that they would be happy to be with a bad boy? What type of girl?
If I had
Keep it a
to,
buck. Keep it a buck. Don't lie.
it would
Keep it
definitely,
a buck here.
it would definitely be like you said, it would definitely be the ones who don't really have that.
Nah. You reach it too far now. You reach it too far. Let's keep it real simple. If I'm asking you this question, what kind of girls would you go for that you knew because they've never been out in the streets, they've never had that environment? They always fall for the knuckleheads a lot of times because they've been sheltered and their parents don't let them experience the world. What kind of girls am I talking about?
It sounds like you talk about church girls.
Church church girls. Church girls. The ones that walk around in the faith, happy-go-lucky out in the street, but the minute you get them with a knucklehead or put them in a street environment, they've never been exposed to that. They get attached to it. They like it. They were the biggest victims growing up because you knew they never saw the things that you saw. So when you put them in that situation, it was like, ooh, I'm with this dude. Go home, go to church on Sunday school, pray, say in the choir, but then be in the back on Monday through Friday, skipping school with the next knucklehead, or they girls doing something that they never did because their parents they're more coddled and more secure from the world. Yeah, you give them the word of God, you're building them with this moral fiber, but you ain't preparing them for the friggin' wolves that are out there. You ain't preparing them for the world that's out there. You know what I'm saying? It's like
that right there really does cause me to reevaluate a lot of things because I think about that. I'm like, and my thing is trying to build at the point where you're trying to build legacy. You're trying to make sure that your children are set up to be well in the world and they know what to do and this, that, and the next. But it's like the preparation piece, like how are we doing it so that when they get to that point where they're out on their own, where they have to face struggle, where they have to actually grind through things and they have to persevere through things that they're not comfortable with, like, are they going to be able to withstand that test? Are they going to be able to grind through it? Or are they going to like fold up? And it's like that really does cause me to look at it. And it's like, yikes, like, how are we preparing our children for what comes next? And I think there's a certain level of realness that is missing from a lot of relationships, especially with people of faith. We tend to try to shy away from the things that we've been through because we don't want our kids to look at us a certain way. But in the same sense, it kind of presents this picture of, everything's going to be peach and peachy. Everything's going to be all good, So it's like in that piece, it causes us to really reevaluate and we have to be able to have these real authentic conversations with what we're doing, and we still got to keep that structure in place. But in the same time, we still have to be able to have them to have these authentic experiences to understand, like listen, life can be very unforgiving. This world is not exactly a place that's going to just let you skate by. There's going to be times where you're going to have to struggle through, and it's not going to feel good. And there's going to be times where you're going to fall. There's going to be times where you're going to fail. There's going to be times where you're going to mess up. But it's how you deal with those moments that's going to cause you to really push through that. Now,
I got a question for you.
Oh, you got a question for me?
I'm gonna flip back to you.
Oh, so now you're the host now.
Yeah, you're the host, but we gonna chop it up. This is a little bit off topic, but in the same vein.
Mm-hmm.
Have your kids read your book?
Elisha has started it. Elisha has started it. I want him to finish it. And the reason I wanted him to read the book is to let him know, like, listen, like life can hit you hard, and you're gonna, because I've come to the realization, and this is one of the things that I've come to realize, when it comes to what life throws at you, you are only going to be able to do what you know. And if you don't know better, there's no way you're going to be able to do better.
And I think
hit me with the follow-up. You seem like you got something else in there.
I got so many ways I can go for it, but I want to stay on.
I invited you to the podcast, but it seems like you invited me to the podcast.
What they say, iron sharpens iron. Iron sharpens iron.
Iron sharpens iron.
So I'm gonna say this to you, because I want to stay on topic, because we're talking about daughters. You know what I'm saying? But we got off topic when we started talking about your son reading the book.
At a point, it really is just about the role of fatherhood.
Okay, but we're gonna stay on topic.
Raising, but this is all related to the fatherhood piece.
Now, when your daughter gets older, are you gonna let her read the book?
I will. And this is the reason why. This is the reason I would want her to read the book. Because I don't want her going through life not understanding how things can be. And what I mean by that is this. Is sometimes as parents, we don't prepare our, like you said, we're not preparing our children to go into the world and be able to face what this world has. Like for Elisha and Timmy, for example, they're at the age where, especially when we see everything going on in the world, there's questions that pop up. And I have to tell them, I'm like, listen, there are people in this world who see you, and before they know anything about you, they have preconceived notions about what you can accomplish, what you can't, and some are really expecting you to fail. Like, you don't give anyone any opportunity to see you less than what you are. And I always try to instill that in them and instill that in them. And with that piece, when it comes to her, what I'm trying to do now is really just instill that self-worth, that self-confidence piece, to let her know, like, and I'm waiting, I'm really waiting to the point where she can really understand, because I have this theory, especially when it comes to her, because I've seen some of the things that Sheikah has gone through, and I understand how game works. That's the best way that I can put it. Being young, coming up, I get it. I get how game works. My daughter needs to know and to understand that besides God, there is never going to be another man who's going to love her like her daddy does. And there will not be. Her husband may try to come close, but there will never be another man who will love her the way that I love her. And I will never try to steer her wrong. And anything that I'm doing is because I honestly believe it's in her best interest. because I want her to understand, like, I don't want her to get into the world and when she meets because she's gonna meet guys. She's gonna Guys are gonna be trying to talk at her any which way they can because that's what guys do. And I don't want for her to feel like with the words that are being thrown at her, it's feeling something that she didn't get at home. Because I wasn't fulfilling my role as her father to let her know, like, listen, you're loved, you're beautiful, you're worth, more than anyone can ever imagine, because people will try to put you down just because you're a woman. People will try to say you can't accomplish things just because you're a girl. People will try to put you in this box of what you can and can't accomplish. But you need to know that you can rise above anything that anyone else thinks about you, and the only thing that's going to stop you from doing it is going to be you. And that's one of the things that I try to that I envision trying to instill in her, is to let her know that it doesn't matter the odds that she faces. If she puts her mind to it, she can overcome it, because she comes from a nice long line of survivors. She got God on her side and she got people rooting her up. So it's like, we're going to continue trying to build her no matter what road she tries to go in life. And as long as she keeps that relationship, with God strong, and I got her, and just keep pushing her forward, man. Because
so I'm gonna cut you off here. See, yeah. we agree in two things, but we disagree on something.
It's okay.
Okay, here's what we disagree. I love my daughter to the ends of the world. I will go to jail and I will put a body on the floor for her. And like you said, ideally, you said nobody's gonna love my daughter more than me. I'm going to hope that her husband loves her more than me. Because that's what she deserves, and that's what I would want her to do. I want to be the yardstick on which this sucker is being measured on. You dig what I'm saying? If I'm the yardstick, if what I set is the standard, and I know I put the highest standard forward, you got a long thing to get over, my brother.
It's a big fence to try to jump over.
A big fence to climb. And hopefully I've instilled her with enough self-confidence, self-worth, and the ability to see what's in front of her face, so that if he does get over that fence, he got to love her a whole lot to get there. It's like, you want to be, as a father, you want to be the standard in which all men are judged by. So, and with that being said, you always have to make sure you are on the top of whatever it is that you do.
That one's a good one. That right there is
you have to make sure, even if you're not with the mother, or you're not able to be cordial with that other individual, you still put on that face that a black man and a black woman can work together to raise a child. Because kids are like vultures, man. They sense it. They're like sharks, smell blood in the water, and they'll use it. Like, for example, me and my daughter's mother, we're not the best of friends, but I would never chop her legs off in front of my daughter. I would never disrespect her in front of my daughter. You know what I'm saying? If she chooses to do that, that's on her. But I have a standard in which I hold myself up to, being a man and being what I want for my child and what I want to see out there. I'm never going to, if her mother says something, I might not disagree with it, but I'll have that conversation with her mother and say, yo, listen, this is what I want. This is what I see. This is what I hope to achieve. And that's another key factor that shows your daughter, for me in my situation, that everything with a man and with a woman and a man doesn't have to be combative. It could be work. Work can be done to achieve a common goal. And common goal is to see that you're the best person that you can be.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? A lot of times, fathers don't understand that. You know, we get angry at the actions of the mother, or we get angry at the situation. Some dudes still want to be with them, some don't. Some hate them because they're going to child support or whatever. But you could have your beef with each other, but you never let your kids see that beef. You know what I mean? Because
That really brought me to another question. That was the second question I really wanted to ask before you
yeah,
got
man,
me started because you tried to work me up. I saw what you did there. You was trying
I
to
ain't work you up.
you tried to work me up. I see what you did.
I just asked you a question, bro.
But we're working through this topic of blended family, and with us talking about parenting and fatherhood and raising black girls, how difficult is it when you're co-parenting in that situation to make sure that you and mom are on the same page about the values you're trying to instill, and where you with the shared vision of where you want to see your daughter's life go? Because I know, like you said, sometimes it can cause issues if you know the man got problems with the woman for whatever reason, the woman has problems with the man for whatever reason, and trying to still co-parent, and you're still trying to make sure that your daughter has the best, and she has like everything that she needs to prepare her for life. Like how does that affect that shared vision and what you're trying to instill in her with that?
Are we keeping it a buck, right?
Yeah, because you said no, because it was something that you said. You said, I don't have to like you, but we still trying to make sure how does that happen? Is there like a certain level of communication you need to have? Is there a certain level of tolerance you need to have? Is it like what are some of the things that you absolutely have to have in order to make that shared vision still be able to go forward?
Bruh, for me personally, I can't speak for another dude. I can't speak for another man's situation. I can only speak from my situation and situations that I've seen.
Yeah,
But
so
from
you're
my,
just giving us
but
your
but
expertise
from
based off of what you've
my
been.
situation, I think it's a work in progress, a work in constant progress.
Mhm.
Because sometimes my shared vision and her shared vision ain't the same.
Mm.
So it's like, okay, I might not value something now and she might not understand it. And then if it's coming from me, it becomes a problem. But if it comes from someone else,
Mm.
it's not a problem. I'm going to give you a perfect example. My daughter goes to school in the first grade, right? So she goes to the private school. You know what I'm saying? She's one of the only kids that look like her in the class. So to give everybody a quick background, my daughter is Afro Latina.
Afro Latina.
I'm black. Her mother's Puerto Rican, but she has that curly biracial hair thing going on. All right. So my daughter goes to school. Yeah. So my daughter goes to school and she sees all these girls and images on TV and everything else. She wants to get her hair straightened and have that long flowing, you know, part of my French, white girl hair. She wants the Becky thing. I told her, I was like, yo, I ain't with it. I'm like, let's not, here goes a chance to make her feel uncomfortable where she's going to have to learn that she doesn't look like everybody else. And
Mm.
you don't have to assimilate to get along. You can be different. Yo, make them appreciate your difference. You don't look like them. You can't do the things they do. And through life, you're probably not. Everybody says, "Oh, we can do it. Same thing as everybody else." That's both. We can't. We really can't. Because if that was the case, people we wouldn't be in the situations that we are in now. We can do the actual thing, have the actual opportunities, but we're never going to be viewed the same. We're never going to be treated the same. We're never going to be equal in certain regards. You know, you could be 10 times better than your counterpart at the same position, but you still got to justify what you do in every way, shape, or form. I'm sure you being in your profession, people say to you, "Oh, wow, how did you get here?" Or, or what did you do to get here?
I have a fun fact about that. When I
Yeah,
first
but that's on a whole nother.
keep going.
But you understand what I'm saying?
Definitely.
We're always justifying where we are, how we got here, and why we deserve to be there. So back to my daughter, her mother was like, "No, it's nothing." I'm like, "It is something." It's like, okay, I have a degree in criminal justice and a minor in Black studies, and so I've always been focused on the Black self image. You know what I'm saying? How we look at ourselves, how we value ourselves to other systems and other people. And so I said, "No, don't do it." I'm like, "Yo, don't do it." We got into a full blowout, full blowout. I lost the battle. She straightened her hair. I lost. You know, and then in losing, you know what I'm saying? My daughter comes with her hair all long and flowing, and she's looking for my approval. Like, "Oh, Poppy, do you like my long hair?" And I'm looking at it. I want to tell her, "No, I don't like it." You know what I'm saying? But you know me, I'm trying not to be raw and gritty with my little kid. I'm trying not to be gritty with my kid. I'm looking at it like I said to her, I was like, "I'm not gonna lie to you because I try my hardest not to lie to my daughter ever. If I don't like it, I don't like it." I try a roundabout way of saying, I was like, "Yo, I really prefer your curly hair because it's really, really pretty. I prefer that as opposed to this. I think this is pretty. Other people might not, but I think this is pretty, and I think makes you look pretty. You're always going to be beautiful to me, even if you got something ugly on or you look ugly in some situation. Being and a lot of us know when our kids look like a hot mess, and there's a lot of parents who know their kids is ugly from day one, but we still got to tell them that they're beautiful. That's a job. Let's keep it a buck.
You can't be calling people's kids ugly,
Hey,
man.
hey, y'all know there's some kids you look like, "God, please let him grow into his features. Please let him grow into his features."
Ah.
You know what I'm saying? Or you be like, and then mothers be like, "Yo, is my baby cute?" Be like, "Yo, that man got some big hands, girl. Ooh, he got some big. That boy gonna be a biggin." Never, you never want to tell him that the kid's cute. You be like, "Yo, he gonna be big."
Oh, just try to find something else to showcase.
Yeah, yeah, be like, "Yeah, girl,
Okay,
he gonna be big. Ooh, look at him. Look at him. Oh my God. Look at his smile. He got some pretty teeth. Boy, he ain't got no teeth in his mouth at all, just gums. And you talk about, "Ooh, girl, look at him.
oh man.
He got some high cheekbones." Like, what?
Uh,
The kid newborn. Tell the girl baby ugly. No, but anyway. So we went back and forth on that, back and forth on that, back and forth on that. So she goes and does like a hot comb and messes up the texture of her hair. And I'm like, so I'm angry about it, bro. I'm stewing inside. I want to just grab her and do like the white people shake, like, "What's wrong with you?" You know what I mean?
not to shake.
Yeah, you just want hope you shake some sense into her. But then fast forward 3, 4 years later, you know what I'm saying, due to the new involvements in her mother's life and the people around her and what's going on with the social injustice movements and everything else, now her Afrocentric features she wants to highlight.
Mm.
She wants now she keeps her hair curly or she puts it in braids or she does these things, and it's like, "Yo, bruh, I was there from day one. You now jumping on the bandwagon. You you to me, I'm like, yo, you look like Marlon the Clownfish." You know what I'm saying? But you can't say these things because if it comes from you, it's it's not valued as much as if it comes from someone else.
Yeah.
So in turn, you start having to think of other ways in which you want to deliver a message to them or how you want to set a standard or something to them. And you're doing more work with trying to get the message in the message and the goal to the mother than you are with the kid. You know
Mm.
what I'm saying? So it's like, I know they always say it: be careful who you sleep with, be careful who you have kids with, because that's going to be the other half of your child. That's the other individual putting something in your child.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, things happen, but just make sure the caliber of person you are with is the caliber of person you want to deal with if you get a kid with them.
Words of wisdom.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, yo, even if it's just a quick little thing, make sure that quick little thing has some things that line up with your belief system because, like I said, the goalie isn't always doing his job in the net. He ain't always swatting things away, you know? Sometimes go top shelf, bottom shelf. Ooh, miss one. You know what I'm saying? But use that reference in terms of what you're dealing with. But what are we talking about again? So you got me going off.
I'm gonna give a last question. This is my last question, and
Right.
then we'll start to wrap. If you could think of, or I wouldn't even say if you can think of, do you have any fears when it comes to thinking about your daughter, thinking about her future? Is there anything that you're ever fearful about for her life, for her future, anything like that, being her dad?
All right, fearful. I'm always fearful she's going to be in a situation that she's not going to be able to have control over.
Mm,
You know what I mean? A situation where she's not going to have a choice as to how to get out of it. You know what I mean? It's like, God forbid, like with females, you don't think about it with boys, but you always think about it with, you tend to think about it with girls. Somebody older touching her getting like raped or something. Like you don't want to think about those things. That's a harsh reality with a female. Like as far as like academics and navigating their way through life, women tend to do that a lot better than males. They just have this, and I know guys are gonna say whatever, but they have an innate ability to survive in different ways than which we do.
mm.
We're more in my. And this is just. I'm not no doctor. I'm not
This is
no
your opinion. This is
my
strictly
opinion.
we've established that.
Guys are more of a what I call a physical survivor.
Mm,
Like we think we can fight our way through everything in the world. Women are cerebral with the way they deal with the world and how they attack it. You know what I'm saying? Someone said something to me when I was younger. First thing I want to do is I want to punch you in the face.
sounds about right.
You know what I'm saying? But whereas our sister always had a plan.
Always, that is very true.
That
You
always had
always
a
had
plan.
a
You know
plan.
what I'm saying? And if you and women are definitely more cerebral with the things they do. So I just hope that she doesn't ever get into a situation where a physical situation in which she has no way out. So like I fight with my daughter, I teach her how to fight, teach her how to bite people, I teach her how to poke you in the eyes, wrist locks, joint manipulation. I do things with her like I would do with a boy because I want her to be able to defend herself. Because at some point, you know what I'm saying, she's not ugly. You know what I'm saying? So ugly girls are gonna want to fight your kid. That's just how it is growing up. Ugly girls are just jealous and they want to fight your kid. They just like, oh, she thinks she's cute. No, nothing be wrong with the girl. She just cute. She control her genetic makeup, but the ugly girls want to be mad because your kid's cute. And then they want to fight her. You know what I'm saying? Or they mad because she got a parent in the house and she come to school looking like she got some good sense. And they just jealous because they ain't got a father in the home. They ain't got nobody who care about them. They coming out of the house looking like hot garbage. So again, jealousy's a mofo. You know what I'm saying? And I don't ever want her to be in a situation where she can't handle herself. You know what I'm saying? Anything else, I think I, I'm putting enough in her that she'll be able to navigate it. You know what I'm saying? But I just don't ever want it to be in a situation where someone's taking advantage of her in a physical manner because the scars of sexual abuse are deep. You know what I mean? And they run deeper than anything that for the rest of her life. You know what I'm saying? I just hope I've provided an environment for her and a support system around her where she knows it's wrong and she would come to me. Or if she doesn't come to me, she'll come to my fiance or she'll come to her cousins or her sister or somebody else. And that support system will bring it to me. You know what I'm saying? And then, I'm part
No.
of I'm you know, I tell people in a heartbeat, don't get it twisted. I still got a black hoodie and a ski mask, bro.
Lord.
I can
Just
turn.
as a disclaimer, he does not mean that, but he probably does mean that. But
Don't get it twisted. You mess with mine. You about to deal with the wrath of God. Period.
oh,
You gonna deal with the wrath of God. I don't care. Say your prayers. Talk to your Allah, Jehovah, whatever you want to call your maker. But you come my way with that, with my babies, people I love. I'm just an innate. I'm gonna hurt your feelings. But anyway, back to what we were saying.
I think for me, that's one of the hardest things to think about. And one of the things that I'm most fearful about, because you have some individuals out there who are they're just trash. Like, and that's the only real way. It's like as if they've never, and honestly, I think a piece of that comes down to parenting also, is not teaching men how they should treat women. And then there's a lot of different implications in society and how, gender roles and things like that are presented. But with that piece, I think that control piece of not having control over a situation like that, or being put in a situation like that, that threatens her in that way, is one of the things that definitely, is something that, as a father, I don't want to have to think about, but it's always a very present and a very real situation, where it's like, even if you're, looking in today's society, where, you have to tell your daughters, like, all right, you can't be traveling at night alone just by yourself. They have to worry about so many more things than we would feel, our sons would. And it's like, with that piece is like, for me, that's just like that's definitely a terrifying thing to think about. So
Well, wait a minute. Hold on. Let's leave the people. We gotta leave them with some jewels, man.
that's what I was about to say. That's where we was going. That's where we was going. Let's leave them with something.
You gotta leave them with some jewels. So, what's one little thing that you think you can do to help your kid prepare for the world around them? One little thing.
That one's a tough one, because I feel like there's so much. And I think for me, if there's one thing that I wish I could control and leave with her to face this world, is it would be to be comfortable and confident in who she is. And I would want it to be, always be comfortable, and always, I would try to teach her to always know that who she is enough. She doesn't have to change herself around to fit what other people expect as far as the world around her. But I would want her to be confident enough in her self-image and her self-worth to know, like, this is who I am. And I don't have to be for everyone. But if you want, like, access to like, my presence in itself is something that it's worth something. So it's either you love it or leave it. If you want, like, to if you want,
Hold on. I'm gonna cut you off here. I'm gonna cut you off here. I'm gonna cut you.
I want to be clear on what I'm trying to say.
Just hold on. You went to a whole big global.
Oh, you wanted me to just narrow?
What are some little things
Little
that,
things.
as a parent, as a father, that you can do for your daughter to help people get to the point that you're trying to get, the ultimate goal that you're trying to get to? What are little things? Because we're talking in terms of a macro level.
Yeah.
On how we see and want our daughters to develop. What are little actions and things that fathers can do for their daughters to start them on the road to building them up to be these grand designs that us and God have in store for them?
Two things that I always do. I'll say that. Two little things that I always do. Almost every opportunity I get, I always try to tell Charity Grace that I love her. And I always try to tell her that she's beautiful.
Two things I do with my daughter all the time.
Those two things, non-negotiables. As much as I can. Let her know, like, you know what? I love you. You're beautiful. Love you. You're beautiful. And I think I tell her so much that it's just like, I'm like, you know, you're beautiful, right? And she's like, I know, daddy. I'm like, I love you. And she's like, I love you too, you know?
And I was just about to say, those are two things I say to my daughter all the time. And then the third thing that I do is I make sure I'm always able to talk to my daughter.
Mm,
You're always able, even if you're talking to them about absolutely nothing, you're still getting them in their brain used to having a conversation with you. You know, if they want to talk to you about a TV show that they're watching or something stupid that happens with one of their little friends, something that you might think is just trivial to you as an adult, but it's important to them in their world.
mm.
If you start listening to those little things while they're kids, they're comfortable and they're used to the fact of talking to you about things as they get older.
That right
Because
there was gold. Can you tell our listeners that one again? That was gold. We could put that in a book and sell that. Tell them again.
again, listen when your kids are trying to have a conversation with you, even if it's about a TV show they're watching, even if it's about something that's going on with their little friends in school, something that you think is trivial in your world, but is massive in theirs, take that time and listen to them. Because what ends up happening is they get used to having those conversations with you, and conversation with you becomes open and free. And as they get older, they're already used to having conversations with you. You're not going to be scared to bring up that conversation when they're 15 or 16 because you've been having conversations with them since they were younger.
Mm,
So, for example, in our family, and I can't take credit for this, my other half came up with this. We try to eat dinner together. And even if it's everybody's all over the place, but when we're together, we try to eat dinner together. And one thing that we do when we sit down at the table is we go, what was the best part of your day? What was the worst part of your day?
mm.
Everybody says it, from the
Feeling that.
kid to the parent. Everybody says it. What was the best part of your day? What was the worst part of your day? You know, to them, the worst part of the day might be the remote control didn't work, but it's still them telling you and able to verbalize what was the worst part of their day in their world.
Mm,
So now they're used to saying they're used to talking to you about it, that it's not abnormal. You know, we need to figure out ways in which we can take things that we know are going to be uncomfortable and get them used to doing it now so that we're not uncomfortable when the time comes that we need to have that conversation. Where, you know what I'm saying, you notice something off in your child, like, you know what I'm saying, her attitude's off or something's off and she's a teenager. You know what I'm saying? Now you go try to talk to her and she's like, yo, bro, you ain't never talked to me since I was little. Now you're trying to talk to me now? Get out of here. You don't understand me. You don't know me. You don't know anything about me. But it's like, yo, when I talk to you, I've always talked to you about, I've always showed that I'm vested in your emotional well-being, in your development. I'm going to keep doing that from when you're little. So it's not awkward when I try to do it when you're an adult.
mm. That,
So if you could do those things while they're young, it won't be abnormal or weird when you do it when they're older.
older. That was amazing. That was amazing. Well, we appreciate you coming to the show. This is our first Fire and Ice episode. I'm sure we'll come up with some deeper topics.
Yeah,
know,
it might get a little bit different next time.
So
I'm a
I
lot filtered for the.
appreciate your filtration. So,
Kind of like I'm looking at Kanye.
as
Take
we
a
always
sip
say,
at first. A little sip.
definitely
Oh,
happy to have you coming out. So, you have anything you want to tell the people? You know, any business? What you doing for business right now? Tell them about some of the stuff you up to.
Right now working on a clothing line. So see how that works out. Got a couple other things going on. Like I said, with God's help, you know, there'll be a lot more content for this and a lot
More
more
coming.
content for other business ventures that we could talk about. And things are growing slowly but surely. Like what they say, you tell God your plan. If you want to have a laugh, tell God your plan, and then he'll show you his. You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, this could be the beginning of something. Who knows where this can go? You
Hey,
know?
but we appreciate it. We definitely appreciate it. Hold on, let me scoot down a little. Remember, death and life is in the power of your tongue. So make sure that you Speak Life. I hope you all have an amazing week. Don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, comment. If you want us to discuss another topic, if you have topic ideas that you want us to jump into, if you want some real interesting takes on it, we have this gentleman, and you can see he has definitely a different perspective of doing this. So we'll have another Fire and Ice episode. We hope you have a great week, and we will see you soon, big brother. I appreciate you coming out once again.
Yeah, appreciate you offering me a spot in your little a spot in your world. You know what I mean? Glad I can assist in your greatness.
All right, appreciate you. See you next time.
Love you. Bye.